Hello my lovely, welcome back to my channel. I am Peachy Vegan Goddess, and in this video I want to share with you how I turned my boyfriend vegan. And I just want to say that's not how it was. That's not really how it was. Okay, Rory is a free thinker and he's a smart guy, and it was a case of I was just a bit ahead of him on the vegan journey. And by the way, if you haven't seen my vegan journey video, go check that out. Then you'll have the backstory to this, to this basically. So yeah, I just want to say Rory would have been vegan with or without me. I'm sure he would have come across this information and come to these conclusions by himself, because he is a very compassionate, animal loving person, and he's into health and fitness, and I'm sure that this would have come across his path whether he was with me or not. But I did go vegan first, and sorry, there's a little fly, like one of those little flies that lurks in the base of your plant pots, and then when you water your plants they all come up, what are they called, gnats or something. Anyway, and it just keeps wanting to be in the video. I'm just like, dude, you're stealing my thunder here. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure Rory would have been on this path anyway, but I did become vegan before him, literally for a couple of years, and it was really challenging for me to it became more and more challenging the more ethically connected I was, the more connected to animals that I was. The harder it became for me to be in a relationship with someone who wasn't vegan. I used to cry a lot, and I just want to say, I did not go about this in an empowered way. This was long before I knew all the things I know now about conscious communication and conscious relationships and stuff like that. And yeah, this was long before that, but hey, it worked. He's vegan and he is a passionate, ethical vegan, so yay to that. So okay, here's what I did. So if you'd watched my last video, I shared with you that I came across Freely the Banana Girl. Yes, I'm one of those that went vegan because of Freely. And basically I would watch her videos out loud on purpose. I would make sure that it was booming loud in the background all the time. And I was doing it purposely because I wanted it to subconsciously start to go in, whether he was listening to it or not. He'd be getting on doing his thing and I'd be watching the video really loudly, so that he could hear it. And I was hoping that he was absorbing the information and taking it on board and kind of subconsciously doing that. And I would then share little snippets of videos with him, and I would try and open up the conversation. I would share with him my perspective, and I wanted to try and open his mind to the information that I'd been seeing and that I was really passionate about at this point. And so I kept playing the videos, I kept showing him little snippets now and then, I kept trying to open up the conversation. And yeah, I was usually met with resistance and sometimes defensiveness, and sometimes a level of understanding, and I could sense that it was getting through. I could sense that he understood, and because I was vegan at this point, and I would be whenever I would cook meals, he would be eating vegan food, so he was already eating the majority of vegan anyway. And I feel like him doing that was similar to my process of detoxing. If you go and watch my journey, I feel like he was in a way detoxing and coming away from eating animals. And I think that the less you start eating animals, the more you start making a connection with animals. even if it's really subtle and subconscious, even if it's a slow process, it just starts to happen. And I could see this started to happen with him. And so I nagged him for about a year, maybe longer, to watch Cowspiracy, to watch Earthlings, to watch Gary Yourofsky's best speech ever on YouTube. I nagged him. I was like, you just watch it, then tell me your opinion, because he would try and the usual things, you know, the usual things that people say. The way that he felt was a bit defensive and he wasn't certain about it. And so he would come back with things and I'd be like, but you don't know until you watch it. You cannot tell me anything until you've watched these things. You can't say your opinion until you're fully educated. There's no point me listening to you because you don't know. And so we would kind of have a bit of, you know, heated arguments. We would have arguments about it, that's the truth. We'd argue about it and it was horrible. And so I started to show him slaughterhouse footage. I started to show him what was going on behind closed doors. I was like, right, if he's not going to watch Cowspiracy, I'm going to have to bring it. I'm going to have to bring it to him and make him see. And so I did. And he understood and he wanted to change. And I feel like he had kind of decided, I mean, he says to me now that he had decided that he wants to be vegan, but it was just a journey and process for him to actually fully embody that. Those are not his words. This is me paraphrasing. He doesn't speak like that. So yeah, he wanted to change, but he was still not fully educated. He hadn't watched the documentaries. He was still defensive. He was still a bit in denial. He was uncertain. And yeah, he didn't want to rush it. And also like he had sort of like the health concerns because he's quite conscious health-wise, fitness-wise. He wanted to make sure that he's gonna get enough what he needs, basically. And basically what started to happen was every time he would eat animals, I genuinely started feeling devastated and like I could not hold back how I felt. I wore my heart on my sleeve and I would say things to purposely guilt trip him, if I'm being honest. I would say, oh, that poor pig. And I would just say how disgusting it is and how I just felt disgusted by it, that he's still doing that. And I would give him a hard time. I'm not gonna lie. I gave him a hard time about it. And yeah, I would cry as well. Like genuinely, I wasn't trying to manipulate him. I genuinely felt devastated. Like I didn't know, like I questioned our relationship. I questioned if I could stay with him. And so obviously whenever he would eat animals, I would be feeling like, I don't know if I can stay in this relationship, and I would be devastated about it. And I'm like, I don't want to like break up with somebody just because of what they choose to eat, but this is so important to me, and I don't know how to be in a relationship with somebody who is going to, what I'm seeing as abuse animals, because that's effectively what happens. And so it was genuinely very devastating to me. And I'm a very sensitive person and I'm a very expressive person. So I would cry, I would be angry, I would guilt trip him. I would just be saying how it is, do you know what I mean? And he would feel bad. So he would feel guilty, which was a good thing, because that guilt and shame and that feeling of feeling bad is someone's indication that they're doing something out of alignment, like they're behaving out of alignment with what they really stand for and what they really value. And so yeah, I would say you better look into that guilt, you know, look into it. And I would express my opinion, and sometimes he would be understanding, other times he would be angry and defensive. And then we were at a friend's wedding party once and there was pizza, and there was pepperoni pizza, and he had a slice of it, and I got so upset. I was like, why did you have to do that? Like, could you just not, kind of thing? And I was really angry and really upset. And when we were at home, he ate bacon and I cried. Like I went in the bedroom and I was crying, and I just said to him, I just don't know if I can actually be with somebody who eats pigs. Like, I just don't think that this is gonna be possible. And he basically said to me that, yeah, he knows and he's gonna stop. And so he stopped eating pigs at this point, and he agreed with me that veganism is something that he wants to aim for. And I believed him. I could see he meant it. I could feel he meant it. And so I stayed in the relationship, and I wanted to be that example, and I stopped nagging him. I stopped and I trusted that he is going to find his way with this. Like, I just felt very trusting, and I felt like something has shifted within him. And I think him also seeing me that upset about it was like that extra little nudge for him to do the right thing for himself. And so, yeah, I'm just looking at my notes, by the way, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. So yeah, I would cook us vegan meals all the time and like show him like we're not going to miss out on anything. Like, look at this whole new world of food. And he started to look into it all for himself. He started to educate himself. He finally watched Cowspiracy. And that was like a major turning point for him, watching Cowspiracy and Earthlings. He got into vegan YouTubers. He looked into all the health side of it. And yeah, he basically started to educate himself and make up his own mind. And he stopped eating meat and dairy. He stopped eating land animals and dairy. And then he was still open to eating fish. But he was like on the way to not eating fish anymore. So in a sense, that's quite similar to how my journey went, but my journey is completely different. But it's just the fact that we both stopped eating land animals and dairy and then fish. And we met up with, so Rory doesn't think that this was like a pivotal point for him, but to me, I felt a massive shift in him. We went to this New Year's vegan party, and we met up with Ali, who was like the friendly activist, I think his name was. He's been involved in loads of things behind the scenes with veganism, as well as he used to have his YouTube channel. We met up with him, and he shared with us about, like, he created the little mini documentary called Seaspiracy, and he shared with us about this. I mean, I had already researched it myself and I'd stopped eating fish anyway, but Rory was still on the fence about this. And Ali shared with us all about it. And it was basically from then that Rory was vegan. And then he became, like, just through doing his own research, through looking into it, and through seeing the reality of animal agriculture and the fishing industry, the dairy industry, the egg industry, the meat industry, like seeing the reality of what the animals go through, Rory made that ethical heart connection, and he became very passionate. I would say he's even more of a activist than me, because when we're around people, I find it I'm a very sensitive person, like I said, and I have some issues with PTSD and anxiety, and so I find it hard to be confrontational or to say the truth when I'm around a group of people, whereas Rory is quite comfortable in that situation just to speak his mind and say it how it is, and I'm always just in awe at him for doing that. I'm just that's so brave, and well done for just for saying the truth, even when it's uncomfortable and you're with family and friends and they don't really get it, or they don't agree with it, or they think it's extreme. And Rory will stick up for the animals and say the truth in those situations, and I always really admire that. And so yeah, that is how I turned my boyfriend vegan. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing what I did in the first instance, where I was really pushing it on him. I don't think that's the most empowered way, or the most beneficial way. I think like just being educational, just being the example, I feel like is enough for people to shift. And I know that because it's the same for friends and family. Like there's people in my life where I feel like I've been educational and I've opened their minds, and I've given them an example. I've been the example and shown that it can be easy and shown that it's possible. And I feel like that has inspired many of my friends and family to become vegetarian or vegan as well, without me like pushing it down the throats like I did with Rory. But I was living with Rory 24/7, do you know what I mean? Like I couldn't deal. And so that's the way I went about it, and it worked. And he's vegan, and I know that he would have been vegan anyway with or without me, but still, that's the journey. So I hope you found this interesting, and let me know if this resonated with any of you in the comments. Let me know if you're on this journey. Let me know if your partner's vegan or not. And you know, it's really hard. It's really hard when you've made that connection and someone you love is still harming animals. Like it's really hard to overcome that. And yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna go. I love you lots, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.